All right, so you started your company, you did some marketing, you've got your first rental, you're out there showing it, you got somebody, they applied, now you're ready to approve them, they're about to move in. We got a lot to do before we hand over the keys. So let's talk about onboarding and some documentation processes. John, I'll start with you. What does your documentation process look like? Does it include videos? Is it photos? Is it a handwritten report? Is it is it all of the above? Is it none of the above? What does that look like for you, sir?
Yeah, we do a move-in inspection of the property. It's a video. I think she does do photos sometimes as well. I don't specifically go and do those, but she does a move-in inspection of the property, usually as close as possible to the move-in date, just to make sure that everything's fresh and clean for the tenant to move in and move in ready, but with enough time to be able to get a vendor there for cleaning if needed or something.
So what are you using with your video? Are you just using a smartphone, and are you uploading that to YouTube? Are you housing it on your own database?
Dropbox. We're keeping a Dropbox folder with move-in files, and if we need new marketing photos or marketing videos, a lot of times we'll do that at that time as well. Just that's the best time to get good pictures or videos of the property. So all of that goes into a Dropbox file, tenants have signed documents all through DocuSign. And so the move-in, with COVID, we've actually been doing, our office has been in and out of being closed. So we use our digital lock boxes to actually give them a code to be able to get into the property, so that they don't even need to come by the office. Assuming we've gotten all the utilities set up and the utility numbers and all the funds have cleared in our account, we're capable of giving them a code and allowing them to move in themselves at their own convenience on that day. And then our maintenance guy will go by and pick up the lockbox on a later date.
All right, good deal. Michael, what about you, sir? How do you document your homes before you hand over the keys?
Yep. So, and guys, Daniel skipped me on purpose because he knew I was just going to use AppFolio's regular screening process. So we don't have any fancy technology we've built out. I know we kind of do this. We have our managers. It's actually our leasing agent who is going to do the final move-in inspection, and then they do the same thing as John's. They just upload it to a Dropbox. We take a couple hundred photos. For new people starting out, my piece of advice is get on Dropbox early and go digital. Just never do paper files. There's no reason for it. Just start out digital. Start out with digital leases, and house everything where you can access it wherever you are. A lot of times as a new property manager, you're going to be doing a lot of different tasks. You're going to be showing property. You're going to be doing inspections. And for you to have that information, whether it be your operating system or your backup files, such as your move in and move out inspections, it's important for you to have access to those wherever you are, so you sound intelligent when you're talking to an owner. So highly recommend using Dropbox or some other solution to store your files digitally.
Are you primarily photographs or videos or a combination?
Primarily photographs. We don't utilize videos. We started doing Matterports for a while. Just the hosting is just outrageous. It doesn't scale.
Philip?
And so we have a field guy that a couple of days before he'll go out and he'll use the inspector to document the property and then create any last minute, if anything needs work orders or addressed, just like John said. And we'll leave the lockbox on the door, and then it will be, when it's rekeyed, would be removed at that time with the maintenance tech, and allow the move in. Z Inspector, I just can't say enough about it, because what I think one of the biggest things to maximize your time is that you can compare the side-by-side move-in, move-out report, and it's not a PDF. Where I know that we used to use a company where we use they would send the PDF, and the PDF was so bogged down, it was so hard to scan through, and it just, you get defeated before you can even start to look at what issues might have been there before. So with C Inspector, you can look at stuff side by side, and you really have to have the right person that's really detailed and think of it as collecting evidence. And I have the detailed guy. He does all our video, media, all that sort of stuff. He is the field guy, and it saves time for the leasing agent not running out of the office all the time, or their home office. So it's worked really well.
Does Z Inspector integrate videos?
Yes, they do. Yeah, they actually just did a major software update not too long ago, and it's fantastic. So we do video with it, and then we'll use the 360 camera as well. Like Andy said, it's great for kind of on the fly, it gets the job done for some marketing. But it's also great if especially due to COVID, you go and you set the 360 camera in the middle of the floor, and it's also a little less intrusive than coming with your camera, with the tenant on a periodic or something. You put that in the middle of the floor and just run through, and you're talking to them and push the button. It's capturing everything in the room, and they're going to the next, and they're in and out. So that's another great feature.
Yeah.
Just if you're not using Z Inspector, it's worth every penny.
Andy?
Yeah, Z Inspector. And then what we also, not repeating what everyone said, we give using Z Inspector, our tenants are automated a moving email, which includes directions to the Z Inspector app, so they can perform their own moving inspection. So we have one, and then if you get away from this, I want to perform my own inspection or want to be present during the inspection, they can actually take their own, and then we can move on from there.
Yep, and that was actually my next question. There's I think another company out there that's promoting tenant-only inspections, so really giving them the keys to the inspection. Have any of you guys been tempted to do that only? Let the tenants do their own move-in inspection and rely on their documentation abilities as far as documentation. That's open-ended for anyone.
Where's Harry when you're asking this question? We need Harry's response. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you guys, any of you have experience with HappyCo?
So to jump back to your last question, Daniel, we started doing resident renewal inspections. So during COVID-19, we were allowing them to send us pictures of each room for renewal inspection. Yep. You're not looking for quite the detail and nitty gritty that you would be on a regular inspection. So
yeah,
that's good.
Michael, is that a process that you think you will continue moving forward? Do you find that it actually streamline your processes and it's something that's more scalable, less expensive, better ROI?
I think we've probably spoiled our owners too much over the years that I don't think they'll like that. They're moving forward. But it would be nice if we could. So we might try. Certainly on some properties, some multifamily, it's probably a lot easier to do than, on single family houses.
Yeah. Any other closing remarks on just the documentation process before you hand over the keys before we move on from any of you guys?